Hey guys, it's Kevin, your visa guy here in the Philippines. Today is Sunday. It is a very chill day, but we have a client coming from Compostela of Cebu. That is somewhere north in Cebu. He's coming over to the office today by 12 noon, and he just wants my advice about this real estate deal that he's trying to make. Actually, he's buying this property and putting it to his wife's name, and he just wants my opinion on the things that he needs to know upon closing. Because when you buy a property in the Philippines, you should know how much your total acquisition cost is, like the taxes involved, who shoulders this, who shoulders that, how long should the taxes be paid, where to pay the taxes, especially that there are certain jurisdictions of where the property is located. So you need to make sure you know all of those stuffs, because by the time of closing, everyone's going to be split up. The seller's going to walk away with the money, and you're going to walk away with the documents from the seller. And at that point, it's your obligation to pay the tax and transfer the real estate documents to, in his case, his Filipino partner, which is his wife. So he's coming over today by 12. And before that happens, I'm going to answer emails that I've received yesterday. And all of these emails are about visas. So I'm going to share you what are these questions, and I'm going to answer this and share it to you guys. So stick around and grab a cup of coffee. Let's get out of business. Okay, someone emailed me and he is asking an SRRV question. So his question is, can we use the existing condo already purchased as the investment requirement for the SRRV Classic? Or can we use the deposit to finalize the purchase of the second condo expected in late 2025 or 2026? So it looks like this guy will have around two condominiums by the end of this year or early next year, because he already bought one previously and now he's about to close a new condominium. Now his question is about the SRV is, can he use the existing condo for the investment requirement for the SRV Classic? Now, when you apply for the SRV, buying a condominium is not a requirement. The requirement is to put in a deposit. So even though if you still have, like if you have an existing condominium, you still need to put in a deposit to the bank. Now, the PRA allows you to withdraw that if you purchase a condominium. Okay, let's get that very clear. You cannot use the condo to replace the requirement of the SRV deposit. If you want to choose that option, first is you need to put the deposit in, get the visa. And after that, you may either have an existing condo or if you want to buy a new one. Then, once you have the title ownership of the condominium, you show it to the PRA, you apply for the process called conversion, and then the PRA will put a lien on the title, and then they will return the deposit to you. So it's kind of like a reimbursement method. You put in the money for the deposit, you get the visa. You buy a condo, and then you get the ownership title, you show it to the PRA, then they will return the money to you. That is actually how it typically works. Now, the second thing that he asked, can we use the deposit to finalize the purchase of the second condo? Yes, you can actually use the money to pay for the condominium. But take note, you cannot actually use the money to pay for the initial payment. You need to make payments of the condominium and leave an equivalent to how much your deposit in the bank for the SRV. Let's say if you buy a 5 million condo, you leave out a balance to the developer. You leave out a balance that is equivalent to what you have in your SRV deposit. So the deposit can be paid as the final payment to complete the purchase. You cannot use the deposit to pay for the initial payment. It should be the last and final payment to complete the purchase. Additionally, it's not every condo available. You cannot use the second option that I told you, where you put the deposit, you withdraw the money and you pay for the final payment. No, it does not apply to all condominiums. It can only be applied to the selected and accredited condominiums by the PRA. So You can head over to the PRA's website and look for the accredited condominiums. I think they categorize it as accredited facilities or accredited merchant partners. But there are condominiums that are selected and accredited by the PRA in which you can use the second option, which is to withdraw the money and use the deposit to complete the purchase. All right, next question. We have a guy asking about tourist visa here in the Philippines. So he has three questions lined up. Let's go. What is the maximum time I can stay on a tourist visa? It is my understanding it can go up to 6 months. Now, the first answer, you can actually stay here for a maximum of 3 years just by doing visa extension. Take note that you cannot pay a tourist visa good for 3 years one time. No. When you come here as a tourist, especially to most countries that are visa free, you guys are given a 30-day visa free. It means you can stay in the Philippines without any visa for 30 days. If you want to stay beyond that, then you will have to apply for an application called visa waiver. It is basically the first extension that you can only have, and you can only have for 29 days. So that is on top of the 30-day visa free that you will get upon arrival. So 30 days, if you want to go beyond that, you apply for the visa waiver, which is 29 days. And in total, you will have 59 days. And after that, you can then extend for 1 month or 2 months visa extension. And you just repeat that process until you max out 3 years. Additional info, when you stay in the Philippines beyond 59 days, that is the time that you will pay for an ACRI card. It stands for Alien Certificate of Registration Identification Card. It is basically an ID that the government will give you because aside from your passport, you don't have a Philippine ID. Number two, he asked, can I extend up to the maximum now or do I have to do it in steps? Well, we basically answered this in the first question, but just for the sake of this number two question, no, you cannot extend up to the maximum. You need to do 2 month visa extensions at a time. And I would say just go with the 2 month visa extension because the difference between 1 month and 2 months is the cost, and the difference is only 500 peso. So just go with the 2 month visa extension because who knows, you might stay in the Philippines for a bit longer. Number three, I heard you can get the 6 month extension, but it has to be done in Manila. I am in Iloilo right now. Nope, the 6 month tourist visa extension is no longer available. I think they suspended that a year ago because before you have three options of extending your tourist visa aside from the visa waiver. Because the visa waiver gets you your visa after staying here without a visa. So after the visa waiver, you will have three options when extending your tourist visa. You may get a 1 month, a 2 month, or a 6 month tourist visa extension. But right now, it's no longer available. You can only get a 1 month or a 2 month visa extension. Okay, we have another guy asking about the 13A visa. But this time, he's currently in the US. So he is asking, can I get a 13A visa here in the USA so I don't have to do anything when I arrive in the Philippines? To answer your question, yes, you can actually get a 13A visa in the USA. However, you will only get the visa. That is only halfway of the process. To complete the process, you need to travel to the Philippines and apply for an ACRI card for your 13A visa. Because in the Philippines, whatever visa that you will have a corresponding ID for it. If you have the 13A, you have an ACRI card for it. If you are under a tourist visa, you will still get an ACRI card. If you have the SRRV, you're given an SRRV ID. It's not an ACRI card because SRRV holders are exempted to Bureau of Immigration requirements, but they still need to have an ID. But yeah, if you apply for a 13A visa in the USA, you can get it from the Philippine Embassy or consulate, but it will depend if they offer such services. But yes, you can get a 13A visa in the USA. You just need to go to the Philippines to complete the process by applying for an ACRI card. So basically, what's going to happen if you go to the USA, you will be given a 13A visa permanent, like right away. If you apply in the Philippines, when you apply for the 13A, you only get the 13A probationary residency, which is a 1 year visa. So there is a two-stage process if you get the 13A visa in the Philippines. So you start out by having a 1 year visa, and before that 1 year runs out, you will have to amend your visa status to permanent. So the difference is if you apply in the Philippines, there's a two-stage process, but the requirements are a bit lesser compared to the USA. If you apply for a visa overseas or in the USA, there are more requirements, but there's only a one-stage process in which you can get a 13A visa permanent upon the time of application. But take note that is only halfway of the process. You still need to travel to the Philippines and complete the application by getting an ACRI card. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, we have another guy asking about how to use the deposit for the long-term lease. Now let's read his email. Hi, Mervin. Mervin? It's Curvin. I've had classic SRV, 10,000 USD in Union Bank, now for over 17 years. I was not aware I could use this for a long-term lease of a house and lot. Can you direct or assist myself how to avail this? I am single and have the same house here in General Santos City for the past 12 years. Now let's talk about how the long-term lease option works for the SRV deposit. Okay. Now to give you a little bit of background, if you apply for the SRV under the classic category with or without pension, there's a huge sum of deposit required. It could either be 10,000 or 20,000. After the changes, it's now 15 and 30,000. Okay. Now, the PRA is allowing you to convert the deposit into two options. It could either be a purchase of condominium or a long-term lease of a house and lot. Now, if you choose this option, the long-term lease of a house and lot, this is how the structure works. First is you look for a house and you identify the house that you want. You go talk to the property owner and you tell the owner that you want to lease the house for 25 years. Now, it does not matter if you pay them by month or you pay them ahead of time. Maybe you prepay the 25 years in full one time payment. That does not matter as long as you make a long term lease contract with the property owner. Now, it's very hard for expats to find a property owner that is willing to commit for 25 years because 25 years is a very, very long time. And who knows, they might sell the property or they want to pass it to their children. Yet it gets very, very complicated. So, this option doesn't really work for some people, and some people actually found property owners that is willing to commit, but it's kind of risky because at the very beginning they might be comfortable in saying that, but after 5 years, who knows what's going on to their mind because you're dealing with an individual that owns the property, and if that guy or that lady pass away, God forbid, the children or the people that are inherited to the property will get into place and might just kick you off the house, even though you already paid for it up front. Now, let's say if the perfect scenario happens, you find the property, you talk with the owner, and then the owner allows to lease the contract for 25 years. Then you go to the Registry of Deeds office, right? And then you put a lien on it. The lien is from the PRA office. So you get a letter from the PRA, you get the letter from the PRA, and then you submit the letter plus the contract of lease to the Registry of Deeds, including the title of the land. Because you should tell this to the owner. When you want to avail this service, you should tell the owner that the title will be annotated with a lien. Meaning that the owner cannot sell it or rent it out to other people. It's kind of restrictive for the property owner, but it will be a protection for the retiree who availed the service. So you get the contract of lease, the title of the land, and then you get the letter from the PRA that you are availing this conversion. You go to the Registry of Deeds office, and then the Registry of Deeds will annotate the lien on the title. And after that, you return the original title to the property owner, and you request a certified true copy from the Registry of Deeds. Now, at that time, when you request a copy from the government, the title, there will already be a lien annotated on the title. And then you bring that document to the PRA, and then the PRA will return your money if you show proof of you have paid everything up front. If you have not paid the lease up front for 25 years, and if you just, let's say, make payments every month or every year, the PRA will issue a check, like how much you deposited. The PRA will issue a check named to the property owner as an advance payment for the lease. Again, if you show the PRA that you have paid the 25 years up front, then they will return the deposit to you. But if you just make monthly payments to the property owner, then the deposit will be issued in a check named to the property owner. And that is how it works. Hey guys, I'm back. I just had a meeting with a client who was asking advice on the real estate deal. Now, what I would say is the property is problematic. There's a lot of reasons why, but number one is the type of property that he bought is agricultural. He cannot build a house on it. So that is one of the problems here. When you buy land here, you should make sure that the tax or the classification of the property is residential. Unless if you buy an agriculture, you need to reclassify it into a residential. But who knows how long that's going to take. Now that is what he's trying to fix now. I gave him advice, and I'm very glad that. Hey guys, I'm putting up the camera much closer because the battery of my microphone ran out. So I gotta make sure that to put this camera much closer so you would hear me. Now let's answer this final question. This guy is asking, I'm just gonna read this email. Hi Kervin, I need help in getting the SRRV. I want to travel your country. I can only stay there for 2 to 3 months because I still have a job, and I'm not sure when am I going to retire. I read online that I can apply for the SRV even though I'm under 50 years old. Can you please give me advice whether or not I should apply for the SRV? Now, to answer your question, for me, I would say you don't need to get the SRV. You are better off staying under a tourist visa because there's no much commitment in terms of cost that you need to put up. Because if you get the SRV, there are upfront costs that you need to consider. That would be the fees and then the deposit. Since you mentioned that you're still working, I assume that you don't have a pension yet, right? Now you qualify under the classic category, non-pensioners. So if you are 40 to 49 years old and you don't have a pension, the deposit for you is 50,000 USD. The application fee is 1,500 USD, and then the annual fee is $360. All the numbers that I've said are in dollars, not in Philippine peso. Now, based on your situation, you can only stay here for 2 to 3 months at a time every year. It's not reasonable for you to get the SRV. Just stay under a tourist visa. Since you're an American, when you travel to the Philippines, you don't need to get a visa for 30 days. And if you want to stay longer than that, then you can get the visa waiver that puts you up another 29 days. So in total, you will have 59 days of stay. And if you want to stay longer than that, you can get another extension for 1 month or 2 month visa extension. So in total, you can actually stay here for 3 to 4 months, depending on how long you can stay here. And that's without putting up the application fee for the SRV. You don't need to put in a deposit because you are under a tourist visa. So there's not much commitment in terms of cost. But if you're going to ask me that you're getting the SRV because you're going to retire in the next few years, then I would say you can get the SRV. But since you're not sure yet of when you are going to retire, you're not even sure, I think, that the Philippines is the place for your retirement, then I would suggest you stay under a tourist visa. It's not reasonable for you to spend the upfront cost for uncertainty. So just stay under a tourist visa. And every 2 to 3 months of travel, you just need to pay for the visa waiver and then the 2-month extension plus the ACRI card. And that's it. It's very cheap. There's no commitment in terms of cost. And it's very to enter the country and exit the country. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. And I would love to take this opportunity to tell you that I just launched a Substack platform. So it is a platform where I put out immigration contents, visa information, expat stories, anything that I can think of about relocation in the Philippines. So if you want to move to the Philippines or if you're already in the Philippines, be sure to subscribe to my free platform in Substack. I'm gonna put up in the link in the description. Also, the relocation plan is still available if you're planning to move to the Philippines and you're not sure where to start from visa, immigration, or real estate. Just send me an email at kervin@gorelocationph.com. So if you're not sure and you plan to move to the Philippines, that would be the best path for you to take, because we're going to talk about the costs involved, the visa options that you have, long term, what are the things that you should know before or after buying the property, and so much more. And just to let you know, I'm actually a PRC and DHSUD accredited real estate professional. So I'm duly licensed by the government to practice real estate. So if you have questions, just send me an email at kervin@gorelocationph.com. And the free consultation is still out there. All you need to do is just send me an email. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much for your time, for watching the video. And if you have friends that want to watch my content, feel free to share my information to them. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace.